Okay, today I'm going to go over the pocket side vent for the R2D2. Now what I started with is an STL file and 3D print, and I made these pieces, which is the actual side vent, and then these pieces that snap on the back. And then this piece, which basically creates your bottom pocket. So this is the side pocket vent system. So again, this is made out of PLA 3D print material. And then what you can do with it is you can use this Bondo glazing putty. And you can take the bonding glazing putty and you can basically use your finger, or you can use, I used a popsicle stick that I squared off, and I basically rubbed the Bondo putty in all the cracks and crevices. Then I went back with sandpaper and I sanded it multiple times, so you don't have to really do this back side or the outside. You really focus on the inside of this little pocket. On this side, you really only have to focus on the side that you're going to see from the outside. And remember, this is the flat portion that was down on the 3D printer, so you have to fill in all these little grooves, and this glazing putty works wonders for it. For these inside vent pockets here, because they snap on, the only thing you have to worry about is the very bottom. So again, you can put glaze inside there, but when you sand it out, you can take a razor knife and you can actually just scrape any excess off of the sides in order to make them still fit onto the back little ridges that they fall into. And be careful on some of these, because if you bend them too much and everything, they're going to start to fall apart. So you really want to keep them, you got to be careful that you don't press too hard and keep trying to put them on and pull them off. One of the key things is these are going to get glued on, they're going to become permanent. And the bottom of these eventually is going to be painted that R2D2 color blue on here. And same thing with the inside of the pocket vent here. And so what you're going to end up doing is I'm going to show you today how to do the rub and buff on the pocket vent. So when you actually glue this on, you have this nice blue on this nice metal looking piece, and then on the back side here you're going to pop in your little rib backings, your pocket vents, and you're going to have the blue there, and then you're going to have the blue over here. Okay, and then this is going to look all nice and metal. And again, this is using the rub and buff material, which is actually really easy to use. But in order to get from point A to point B to point C, because what you want to do is you want to get this to where it's nice and smooth and it looks like it's a metal finish. And this actually gives the appearance that it's almost like, I don't want to say tin foil, but tin steel. So this is the metal coin return that goes inside the R2D2. So again, what I did is I used the putty glaze on this. I made sure that first of all, I made sure I fit it inside the body. Then I sanded it down. Then I used the putty glazing and I filled in all the ridges as best I could. Then I sanded it, wet sanded it down. I spray painted it with black primer, and that primer basically fills in a lot of the grooves and everything. Then I started with wet sanding it, and I started at 240. I went up to 300, 350, 400, 500. I went up to 800. I went up to 3,000. Okay, just wet sanding it, and then I did 2 or 3 coats on it. Then I did 2 coats of the rub and buff. And now what I realized when I did the rub and buff, there's some still scratches that you can see. And even after doing the rub and buff, I can go back and I can spray paint it again with the black primer and sand it down again and start all over, and it won't have a negative effect on the final product. However, but I come to realize that your R2D2 is a working item. It's going to have nicks and scratches in it, so you're not going for perfection. So if this has a little scratch in it, a little imperfection, because if this is supposed to be a coin return and it's supposed to drop stuff out, it's going to be all nicked up and scratched up. And so I don't have any problem with these little bad blemishes that are inside there. Okay, so on the R2D2, this is where this pocket vent would go. Okay, and I'll kind of turn it here. Now, if I put this pocket vent here, and I'm using the Senna wood frame, so I've already got the first layer skin attached. You're going to have another skin that goes on top of this. But as you can see, this skin is bigger than this hole, and there people are thinking, well, I need to cut this down in order to make it fit in there. Well, you don't, because if you put the skin, if you mount this correctly and you use the outer skin as a guide, this resin piece or PLA piece fits perfectly into the outer skin. So you do not, after you print this off, you do not have to